Hey guys, welcome back to Civil Talks. In today's video, you are going to know how to learn and remember 100% of whatever you study without going over the topic again and again. The secret? My 5-step approach. In fact, these are the exact steps that I used for clearing one of the toughest exams of India, the Engineering Services exam, and that too while working for a full-time job. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process, taking a practical example step by step. So give me just 5 minutes of your time and I guarantee you that after watching this full video, you're surely going to score a lot more than what you were getting earlier in your tests. In fact, years of research on students of different age groups has proved that these steps directly influence how our brains perceive the information. That simply means if you study by this method, you are going to remember what you study for a long time, and that too super rapidly and super fast. Maybe in less than half of the time that you were taking before watching this video. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Step number 1. Read through your mind. Whenever you're first introduced to a topic, don't just read the text passively. In fact, try to connect to the content and read that actively. Now, when I say actively and passively, here is what I mean. Suppose you have this text. Now, if I am going to read that passively, I will read it simply like this. Impact of man on biosphere. After the arrival and reproduction of man on the earth, a large-scale impact has been caused on the biosphere due to his unchecked actions. Say for example, large-scale deforestation of forests and so on. You will continue reading it like this. Now, studying this way is completely wrong as your mind is not able to store the content that you're reading. Instead, you need to study the content actively. That means create some mind maps as you read the topic. Let your brains work and create some diagrams that helps understanding the content. Now again, I'm going to read this text but actively. Notice that along with reading the text, some diagrams are being shown on your screen. This is how I create diagrams in my mind while reading the content. So let's start. After the arrival and reproduction of man on the earth, a large-scale impact has been caused on the biosphere due to his unchecked actions. Say for example, large-scale deforestation of forests for residential and agricultural land uses has changed the habit of organisms living in the forests. His hunting of animals has led to the extinction of certain animal species. He has also developed new types of domesticated animals as well as plants to serve his own needs. His using pesticides and insecticides in the agricultural farms has also affected the relative proportion of various organisms in the biosphere. So did you look at that? This is how we create a mind map. For the starters, it may look that it is pretty much difficult. I may agree with that, but then with time you will get used to it and your mind will easily start making the diagrams as you read a topic. Note that not only the diagram, but you can also create different other types of mind maps like flowchart, mnemonics, or even a story. The focus is to understand the topic in a simple manner. For example, let me give you an example of mnemonics. Mnemonics is a system such as a pattern of letters or ideas which aid in remembering something. In fact, Research even suggests that mnemonic strategies are beneficial more than the normal lecture method. A very common mnemonic that we use is to remember days in each month of Gregorian calendar using our knuckles. Another example of mnemonic that I used during my school days was for remembering the group 1 and group 2 elements of periodic table as a part of our chemistry classes. On your screens, you can see both group 1 and group 2 elements. So for group 1 elements, my mnemonic was Helena ki Ruby se friendship. And for group 2 elements, it was Bedi ki mehengi car senior batch rakhega. Funny, right? But it makes things so easier. So who cares? Now let's see how you can use story or scenic mind maps for remembering some words. Here are 8 random words that you are given for learning. Number 1, orange. Number 2, chair, pizza, cycle, clown, hair, whistle and baby. Now what I will do is, I'll try to associate these words with some scenes. So I will take the words orange, hair, whistle, clown and cycle. And this is the scene which I will save in my mind. You can see in this scene that all the words orange, hair, whistle, clown and cycle, these all are embedded in this scene. Similarly, for the remaining words, let me show you another scene. So in this picture, you can see baby, pizza and chair. Now all you need to do is remember these 2 scenes and you are done. You can easily retrieve the words from your memory whenever required. Isn't that easy? So these are the different examples of mnemonics, scenes that you can use remembering different type of content. Now let's move on to the next step. Step number 2, revise. The next step is to revise the information that you have just read but with books closed. You can talk to yourself or write somewhere or even draw the mind map that you have just created in your brain. Obviously, you would not be able to remember everything and would be able to recall just maybe 40 to 50% of the content, and that is totally okay. Don't get demotivated at this step. Everyone is able to retain just this much information in one reading. So no worries and move on to the next step. Step number 3, review. Your next step would be to review the topic and check what all you missed in the revision. Check out the content again, focusing on the text that you are not able to recall in the last step, that is step number 2. Step number 4, test yourself. The next day of studying the topic, test yourself. You can either solve some questions, numericals, or any other test material related to the content. You can even try solving the previous year's exam questions related to the topic. This step will bring back your memories from the last day, giving signals to your brain that the content is super important. A point to note here is that you need to test yourself for whole of the content that you studied a day before, even for the content that you got correct while revising in step number 2. Check the answers and rectify your mistakes. Step number 5, repeat testing. Repeat the step number 4 again after 2 days, but this time with whole set of new test material. And bingo! You will notice that this time you will be remembering more than 95% of the topic, and that too without going over the topic again and again. What's more is that it will be etched in your memory for a long time and you won't forget the topic easily. The infamous method of studying that most students follow these days, called cramming, involves repeated studying of the same topic multiple times, even 5 to 10 times for some. Not only does it consume a lot of time, but also gives false sense of familiarity to students, only to find that they don't remember anything in the exams. So you should stop cramming altogether, as it has been proved by researchers that it gives no benefit. Still with me? Here are some important tips that you need to incorporate in your method to succeed in your exams. Number 1, 50-minute session. Your one continuous session for study should be maximum 50 minutes. Research suggests that anything studied after this time won't be retained that effectively in your brain. So always take a break after studying for 40 to 50 minutes at a stretch. Number 2, take a nap. Taking an hour-long nap between study sessions has been known to increase your memory by an astonishing 5-folds. That means whenever you study, if you take a peaceful nap after that, you are going to remember it 5 times more than if you wouldn't have taken rest. Unbelievable, right? But it's true. Number 3, interweave the subjects. Never give a whole day to reading the same subject. In fact, keep switching between the subjects. For example, first 50 minutes, the first subject, then take a rest. The next 50 minutes, complete second subject, and then again take rest, then start with the third subject, and so on. Experiments have proved that studying this way is linked to higher performance amongst students. Now I know that whatever I have told you till now may seem tough to some and others may doubt on this method altogether. But believe me guys, this will actually change your future. You can even clear those exams that seemed difficult to you. Just once, try this method and I'm 110% sure that this method will work for you. It may seem difficult at once, but then it's proved, tried and tested. So that is all about today's video guys, and I hope that it helps you in learning your study content effectively. And if you learned some cool stuff today from this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now. Just click this button below the video and you are done. Now it's your turn. Which of the mind maps that I shared with you today will you first try? Will you first try with the diagram one, or mnemonics, story or flowchart? Do write in the comment section below right now.